Have you ever heard of Carlo Maratta? Is he taught about in high school art classes? Would a spectacularly talented artist be called the next Maratta? Somehow, I doubt it. And yet, Carlo Maratta was probably the most influential and well-known artist in Europe during the late 17th century. During this time period, there was a feud going on between two schools of art, the Classicists and the Baroques. The Baroque style was exaggerated, dramatic, and expressed a grandeur that the classic style was simply not known for. Due to its newness, it was picking up patrons through Italy around the time Maratta began gaining his fame. Carlo Maratta influenced his contemporaries to maintain classical roots within the new Baroque styling through his choice of color, technique, and subject in his artworks. He did for art what Mozart did for music. He kept it classy, quite literally.
Carlo Maratta was famous for his portrayals of the Madonnas, the Virgin Mother of the Christ Child, and it earned him the nickname Carluccia delle Madonne, or the Little Carlo of the Madonnas. Maratta got much of his inspiration from Raphael, who was well known for his portrayal of the Madonna and Child. Other paintings of Maratta's include mythological figures, both Roman and Greek, such as Juno beseeching Aeolus to send the winds against the Trojan fleet. He gained some of this influence from his teacher and mentor, Andrea Sacchi, a teacher at the Accademia di San Luca. Sacchi's most famous painting is The Death of Dido, featuring the myth of the tragic death of the Queen of Carthage after the disappearance of her love Aeneas. One of Sacchi's contemporaries also painted the events surrounding the Trojan War in his painting The Golden Apple of Discord, portraying Paris, king of Troy, choosing the love of Helen and outraging the Roman goddess Juno. This classic emphasis on figures of the past, both biblical and mythological, was brought back during the Renaissance, with painters like Botticelli featuring nymphs and Greek gods in paintings like The Birth of Venus. Maratta's painting of Juno and Aeolus also features a variety of techniques that originated in sculpture, mosaic, and painting in the classic era of art in Greece, approximately from 480 to 30 BCE. These techniques include the S-curve, twisted perspective, weight shift, rhythmos, and atmospheric perspective. Aeolus's body, manly and muscular in shape and clear definition, shows an example of weight shift. As his feet are placed apart, his hips shift to the left side, relying on that to support his weight. One of the earliest examples of this technique was the Doryphoros, or the spear bearer by Polykleitos. The womanliness in Maratta's paintings, such as the portrayal of Juno, as well as Daphne's form in Apollo chasing Daphne, shows the use of the S-curve. The curve of the body is exaggerated and created to be erotically alluring. This was commonly used in the latter classical era, such as in Praxiteles' Aphrodite of Cnidos. Aeolus in Maratta's painting is the best example of rhythmos, the technique of freezing the body in the middle of a motion so that the past and present are referenced in the moment. Maratta uses this to highlight the fact that Juno's request has occurred and has been answered to the affirmative. Aeolus is also a fantastic example of twisted perspective. Though his head is pointed in one direction, rather than us seeing his torso in profile, as is his face, he is twisted for us to see the definition and power in his torso and legs. This was used to portray his manliness, strength, and even his prowess as a god and lover. Myron's Disco Lobos is the first we see these two techniques used in Greece. The motion of the young Olympian's tossing of the discus is paused and frozen for posterity, and his body twisted to see the profiling of the face and the full torso. The setting as well as Juno's body shows use of atmospheric perspective, where figures further in the distance appear blurred. The garden scene from the House of Livia in Rome during the Imperialist era is the first time we see atmospheric perspective used. Maratta achieves this look with more mastery of it than the earlier artist. Maratta's paintings use darker, duller colors than many of those used during the Baroque period. His painting of Juno beseeching Aeolus to send the winds against the Trojan fleet is much more shaded than that of Francois Boucher's Juno asking Aeolus to release the winds, completed during the same artistic period, though years later. Maratta's influence in this stretched beyond the boundaries of his country. Maratta had students in other countries that borrowed inspiration from Maratta's techniques, such as Martino Altomonte's Resting on the Flight to Egypt, which shows the use of darker colors in their shading and their techniques. Overall, Maratta's paintings maintain their classical emphasis, and due to Maratta's importance in the artistic circles of society, he was able to influence others to retain that influence. Despite the backlash of some of those in the Accademia di San Luca, the school of art in Rome, where Carlo Maratta was both apprentice and later director, he taught his students these techniques, and through them, his work and teaching lived on. Despite his lack of fame post-mortem, he influenced the progression of art over time, and made beautiful masterpieces that deserve to be remembered.